For a couple of years, I was a den leader of my local Cub Scouts pack. And one year we held a talent show where the winner was decided by popular vote by all the kids. My den and I came up with a fun song act. We performed the kids' song Worms. But there was a key twist. At the end of our performance, the kids in my den performing the song threw out dozens of gummy worms into the audience. Now, it was transparently a bribe, and everyone knew it. We won the prize for the talent show in a landslide. And I think I taught those kids a valuable lesson about incentives. The voting wasn't really measuring talent, it was measuring who gave away free candy. I see something similar happening in retail media today. Consultants and agencies are being incentivized to look at metrics that don't necessarily measure true performance. They're focusing on ROAS numbers that look good on paper, while billions in ad spend might actually be going to waste. And today we're talking about a really fun new initiative called WOAS, Waste of Ad Spend, and how one agency is trying to address what they see as widespread inefficiency in retail media spending. Let's go. Good morning and welcome to the Retail Media Breakfast Club. I'm your host, Kiri Masters, and every weekday at 6 a.m. Eastern, I bring you candid and real discussions in the world of retail media and marketplaces in just 10 minutes. So bring your own cup of coffee and we'll get smarter about retail media together. So you're probably familiar with Podean, an independent retail media and marketplaces agency. And last week they launched this parody award called the WOAS, the Waste of Ad Spend Awards. And it really came from this sense that brands are unknowingly pouring money into retail ad spend that is not driving meaningful results for them. So what exactly constitutes waste in retail media? According to Podean, there's three main issues that they see continue to come up. First is ineffective targeting, campaigns that cast nets too wide instead of being precise. Second, unoptimized budgets and bids that don't account for the dynamic nature of retail platforms and consumer buying behavior. And third, a disconnect between media buying and broader business goals. And so this is the basis for the WOAS Awards. It's like a parody of the Oscars with prizes for categories like hoping media will solve all my issues, getting their Google and Meta agency to manage retail media when they have no idea what to do, selling managed services with nobody to manage them, setting ridiculous media metrics, and least skilled in-house team. So I put a post up on Forbes today with a bit more info about the WOASs that I'll link to in the show notes here. But just to round things out a little bit, I also spoke with some other industry consultants outside of Podean about what are the culprits of waste of ad spend that they are seeing. And so I just want to summarize a few points from these independent consultants largely. So first, Vanessa Hung, who is the CEO of Online Seller Solutions, she talks about how different product categories require different strategies. And all too often she's seeing categories where consumer behavior is very different, such as supplements, which need multiple touch points with educational content, while there's more transactional categories like kitchen gadgets, where there's less touch points needed and they convert fast with feature-focused messaging. And so she, in her audits of brand accounts, she is seeing some agencies just applying the same strategy to all categories. Consumer behavior is different category to category. Vanessa also points out a real pernicious issue, I think, is around the AI boom and generative AI specifically, being able to create a huge volume of generic creative content, generic descriptions, generic images, even lifestyle images. It's just so easy now to create assets that many brands are just producing AI slop, right? And because of this volume, because of all the AI slop, it's very easy to get lost in the crowd here. So the solve here is with real personalization and problem solution based creatives. And she says that with the introduction of problem solution based creatives, her agency has been able to improve ROAS by 25% in just a week, just by swapping out the creative. Next, I spoke with Danny Silverman, who's an independent e-commerce consultant, and he points out a talent and org design issue here in that many brands are incorrectly migrating digital personnel to retail media roles without understanding the fundamental differences, bringing traditional ROAS frameworks that don't work effectively. And so this comes back particularly to this WOAS award, getting their Google and Meta agency to manage retail media when they have no idea what to do. It's a very funny video. I do recommend checking that out. Danny also had another really good recommendation here in terms of agency selection. And he says, if a brand is in an RFP process and agencies focus on ROAS specifically as a metric, should be an immediate disqualification as it shows they don't truly understand retail media. Amen, Danny. I also spoke with Tony Crutcher, who is an e-commerce consultant working with the agency MPG as well as directly with brands. And he says that unlike traditional advertising channels that have been around for decades, retail media is fragmented across many different retailer platforms, each with their own way of measuring success. Many brands are pressured to spend money on these platforms as part of their broader retail partnerships and JBPs. They often don't fully understand what they're buying or how it benefits them. This lack of clarity exists because many companies still don't have dedicated retail media experts on their teams. And then finally, I saw Mike Feldman, head of retail media at Vayner, comment on this on LinkedIn, and he quotes the great John Wanamaker, who says that half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. And that is a truism that's been around for many decades in advertising. Mike shares that as an industry, we all chase incrementality, but sometimes the fastest way to drive results isn't finding the next 30% of growth, it's cutting the least effective 30% of the plan. I think that's a really great point, that especially in this time when we're facing pressure from a lot of different directions, from tariffs, from heightened spend expectations from retailers I just wrote about, Walmart wanting an extra 25% from brands, something's got to give. And I think that's a really great point from Mike about cutting the least effective 30% of the plan. So brands navigating this complex landscape, the message is clear. Retail media requires specialized expertise, category-specific strategies, and measurement approaches that go beyond traditional ROAS calculations. As the retail media ecosystem continues to evolve and fragment, addressing these inefficiencies isn't just about saving costs, it's becoming a competitive necessity. Well, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Retail Media Breakfast Club. We meet here every day at 6 a.m. Eastern. So be sure to subscribe and get your daily dose of insights, trends, and hot takes in the world of retail media and marketplaces.